All right, so we're 25 minutes from 9 o'clock, and for most of you, this is your Monday morning, but it's actually a Tuesday morning, and Mike Barrett's in for his weekly chat. How you doing,
And
Mike?
it's definitely my Monday, no doubt about it.
Yeah, well, you were talking about, I was a little worried that you weren't here yet, and you said, what?
I know.
Too many school buses?
I had to wait for a school bus to stop at the railroad tracks in St. Jay and then do another school bus, a different set of railroad tracks here in Louisville. So for some reason, there's more cars on the road this morning. I'm like,
They're going home. They came here to celebrate the long weekend.
they're out of here. They're supposed to be going south, not north. Anyway.
All right, so good policies on Tuesday mornings. We talk about how you can get the most out of your hard-earned dollars when it comes to your insurance coverage for your family, your house, your business, and everything. And I just want to, I don't know, Mike, how we can lead this into our conversation here, but the other morning when I was coming into work, I saw what looked like a car accident scene. Mm-hmm. And it was. And unfortunately, somebody lost their life in that accident.
I heard about that, yeah.
Vermont State Police are they're drawing attention to it here because already this year we've had, what did they say? 24 people have died in 21 fatal crashes just to this point in the year. Now, insurance is important.
Yes.
It really is. Can we tie this in?
We can. Such a tragedy to hear about that with somebody perishing in an accident. But, that's what insurance is for. It's easy for us to remember the repetitiveness of having to select and choose insurance and certainly having to pay for insurance. And that's the painful part of it, right? Because we're reminded that we're paying for something that we don't necessarily see. But if something like that happens, that's when you are going to need it and understand why you have it the most. I've seen people talk about, paying. I see it on TikTok. I see it on social media, oh, what a scam insurance is, paying a couple $100 a month for insurance. And well, a couple $100 a month, how long is it going to take for that couple $100 a month to equal maybe a total loss fire claim payout of $700,000 just for the house, not counting everything else? What about, $500,000 in liability protection if you're in an accident and injure or kill somebody or other people? Or total your car that's a $40,000 or $50,000 or $60,000 car that's going to be, yes, it's actual cash value. There are some policies that you can get replacement costs in the first couple of years of ownership, but yeah, mostly it's going to be actual cash value, but they're going to pay for the value of the car at the time of the loss to help you move forward and hopefully get back to the normal after having a loss. An accident like this where somebody perishes, it's just such a devastating thing to hear. But those are on the rise.
Well, the sad thing is, and you said $250,000 of personal injury coverage, right? And to some people, it's like, really, that's a lot of money. Well, this one particular crash that happened just a mile down the road from my place, okay, that's how close it was. There were 3 other people that were injured.
Yeah, all transported. I can't remember, but I almost think 1 or 2 had to go to Dartmouth.
To Dartmouth, yeah.
So that's a medevac flight or at least a long ambulance ride.
So if somebody doesn't have that adequate amount of insurance coverage, and I remember this from all of our chats over the years, then it comes out of your wallet.
Yeah, it does. It does. People forget that that's the possibility, but your liability does not end when the company's limits end. Your liability pretty much comes in full play at that point, because once the insurance company has maxed out what you have coverage for, yes, it's going to come to you in the form of a lien or a judgment or something that could irreparably change your life and financial situation. So that's why you need it. And it's interesting because people, can easily assume, well, I'm in the industry, so I obviously drink the Kool-Aid, right? But that's the funny part about it is I don't drink the Kool-Aid. I'm kind of the anti-insurance Kool-Aid drinker. But what I have, a year after I got into this industry, and actually this is pretty timely too, Jeff. A year after I got into this industry, my father was almost killed in a motorcycle accident. All right. He was hit by an uninsured motorist in New Hampshire while he was on his motorcycle. The left side of my dad's motorcycle looked like it was totaled. The right side looked brand new because it sheared the entire, it was 2 motorcycles hitting semi head on. My dad's still in pain to this day, has pins in his hip and crushed foot that happened. And you know what? Insurance did for him what was intended to do. He was hit by an uninsured motorist. He selected proper limits to make sure he wasn't kind of cutting the cost. And I saw how the process works with my very own eyes. And I have a true appreciation for it because my dad is still here today and is not in financial turmoil as a result of one thing that happened in his life. So not the Kool-Aid that I drink in terms of the insurance industry, but in terms of seeing how my father was indemnified by insurance properly.
It's always important, whether it's for your automobiles or your homes or your business, that you have adequate coverage. And the worst way to find out, you say in your commercials all the time, is when an accident happens.
That's when the rubber meets the road. That's when you're going to find out the coverages you have. And now, bear in mind, my dad was in a motorcycle accident. We're in motorcycle season, so being very careful and watchful. And I'm speaking to both the people in vehicles and the motorcycle riders. You know, no party owns the road, so share the road together and things will be okay. Keep an eye out and double, it's easy to look and see, I didn't see a car. Well, don't forget, bikes are going to be a little smaller, so make sure you have a keen watch on things before you're cutting out into the road and taking turns or anything like that. But, just make sure you've got proper coverage, because that's really what's going to prevent you from having something that's going to really change the course of your life, other than an injury that could do that on its own. If you can prevent the financial turmoil, insurance is the way to do it. Unfortunately, it's the unfortunate, necessity that you have to have, but it does come into play.
All right, so I'm going to go back at the beginning of this. You said if you're paying a couple $100s a month for your insurance coverage, and somebody says that's a scam because you don't get that money back, right?
All right.
And you said, well, what about if your vehicle was a $50,000 vehicle? How long would it take to cover that?
Yeah.
That's what are we looking at? 250 months.
Yeah. You're deferring your exposure to somebody with much bigger pockets and the immediate ability to pay. So it's pretty impressive to see how it works. But that's it. It's so, statistically, the amount of people who pay for insurance versus the amount of people who use the insurance, it's a very broad spectrum. The numbers are completely opposite. But if you talk to somebody who has suffered a total loss at their house or been in a horrific accident and the insurance did what it was supposed to do, yes, we're going to hear some negatives through the process. And again, a lot of times I find that some of the negatives are expectations that may be beyond what's available through the contract of the policy, or the selection of coverage was insufficient, which isn't necessarily the fault of the company. So I'm not saying they're perfect, but I'm saying I think you may find that a lot of the complaints could live in that area.
All right. So that's our chat this week. Good policies with Barrett Insurance. Contact.
Yeah. Well, real quick, NEK Can coming up next week on June 7th. Psychic medium Josh Simons performing at the Catamount Art Port at the Green Mountain Mall. I believe it's $20 a ticket. All proceeds to NEK Can. Just want to throw that out there. Learn more at nekcan.org. And to get a hold of us, give us a call, 748-5224. Find us on Portland Street in St. Johnsbury, online, thebarrettagency.com, Google, Facebook, and YouTube. Just look for Barrett Insurance Agency.
Mike, always good to have you in here with us.
Thank you.
Stay safe. We'll see you in a week.
Yes.
Magic in the Morning rolls on. Music from Nickelback coming up with their latest. First, it's Bryn Elliott. Magic in the Morning.